on the Google Hangout, and then we have some people coming in via text to ask questions. So at this time, I'd just like to say, Jeff, if you want to give us a brief introduction, and then after that we'll open up the floor for questions.
Sure. I'd love to say hello, and after I introduce myself, it would be great if we could hear from everybody else to get an idea of who's joining us. First of all, I'm Jeffrey Roy, and I'm running for state representative in the 10th Norfolk District, and that district comprises all of Franklin and 3 of the 4 precincts in the town of Medway. It's a district that's made up of approximately 50,000 people, and I'm running for the seat that Jim Valley had occupied for 18 years. He did a great service to the communities of Franklin and Medway. He's been a great friend of mine for all 18 years, and sorry to see him go, but I'd be honored to be his successor in the State House in Boston. Briefly, I'm an attorney during the day. I have a practice in the city of Boston. I'm also a member of the Franklin Town Council, and before that I was a member of the Franklin School Committee, where I served for 10 years, 9 years as the chairman. I co-chair the Anti-Bullying Task Force in Franklin. I chair the Master Plan Committee in Franklin, and I'm the chairman of the Franklin Democratic Town Committee. And I would very much look forward to being the next state representative from Franklin and Medway.
All right. So with that, we'll just do quick introductions from everyone else. My name is Natalie Roy. I'm Jeff Roy's daughter, and I'm a student at BC. So I guess we'll start with April.
Hi, I'm April Korean. I graduated from Franklin High in 2009. I know Jeff through working with the 5-year steering committee for the strategic plan. I think it's mainly how I know him. And I'm about to be a senior at Wellesley College.
Chris?
My name is Christopher Yoncic. I am a lifelong resident of Franklin High, Franklin, Mass. I went to Franklin High. I just recently graduated at UMass Amherst with a degree in political science. I think that's about it.
All right, Dan?
Hi, my name is Dan Bartlett. I'm also a lifelong resident of Franklin. I graduated in 2008, and I'm currently going to be a senior at Northeastern.
And then Frank.
Hi, I'm Frank. I hope you guys can hear me after all that. I was a graduate at Franklin High School of 2008, and I finished my undergraduate career at UMass, and I'm going back for 1 more year for a master's.
Great. All right, so at this time I'll just open up the floor for any questions. Does anyone want to start?
I'd like to start if that's possible.
Okay.
Easy question, but an important question. I was curious, in Jeff's own words, what does a state rep do? Why is it important? And why should I care?
Hold on just a sec. It looks like you were muted.
Dan?
Oh, sorry. I was trying to play around with my controls. I didn't realize I would mute them for everyone else.
All right, Jeff, can you talk?
Yeah, start again.
No, you're still muted. Dan, can you unmute Jeff?
He's unmuted mine, I think.
All right, no, you just muted him again.
How's that? Can you hear me?
I can hear Jeff now.
Okay,
All right.
sorry.
Everybody keep your hands where I can see them. Okay? All right, that's good. First of all, I want to thank you guys for participating in this forum. I'm very excited by the fact that there are youth in the category of that 18 to 25-year-old range that are actually paying attention to what's going on. It's your future that we're talking about, and I'm so glad to have you a part of this first event that we've done, and I hope that we have many more like this. Now, Chris, you asked a question about what a state representative does. Like the federal government, the state government has 3 branches. The executive branch, which is headed by the governor of the Commonwealth, Deval Patrick. The legislative branch, which consists of the House of Representatives and the state Senate. and we also have the judicial branch. I would be running for a seat in the legislative branch, and more particularly the House of Representatives. And there are about 162 representatives in the Massachusetts House, and each of them represents a district comprised of approximately 50,000 people, and the districts are spread out throughout the Commonwealth. And we would represent our community and our 50,000 folks as a body that makes the laws in Massachusetts. The legislature is comprised of a House of Representatives and a Senate. Both bodies have to pass bills, and if the bills are different, they have to be reconciled by a conference committee made up of House members and Senate members, and eventually the bill has to pass by both houses. And then, similar to what happens in the federal government, that bill gets placed onto the governor's desk, and the governor can sign it, and the bill becomes law, or the governor can veto it, at which time the bill is sent back to the House and Senate, and the House and Senate can either choose to override the veto or just let the bill die there. The executive branch, which is the governor, has the obligation of enforcing the laws that are passed by the legislature, and of course the judicial branch would test and measure whether these laws pass muster with the Massachusetts Constitution. So it's a system that's set up very similar to the federal government, and that's by history. John Adams was the author of the Massachusetts Constitution, and as you well know, he was instrumental in the federal Constitution also. So, Chris, I hope that answers your question.
That answers it very well, I think.
Does anyone else have any questions?
And we'll take comments too. I'm curious
Yeah, sure,
as to why you folks are involved.
This is one of the questions that was from the debate, though I'm sure a lot of people haven't gotten the chance to see the debate yet, and this is a pretty important question for youth voters, who I think we're trying to target with this. So, if elected, what legislation would you try to enact to help students with rising costs of in-state college tuitions?
Well, I think, as I said in the debate, educating our youth population is probably the most important thing that we can do to create jobs and get this economy back on track. So types of legislation that I would like to visit are trying to determine ways to make the cost of an education more realistic. Does that mean legislation to boost the student loan programs that are available? Perhaps budget enhancements to give more money to our state college system so that the tuition increases are kept under control. That type of system, so that we can control the costs. It's sad for me when I hear in the newspapers or on news broadcasts questioning about the value of a college education. And that's sad for me, because we know by history that a college education can lead to greater income for students, and there's a market for people with an education. 30 years ago, when folks graduated from high school, they could go into a factory job that would provide them with a pension, would provide them a good place to work, a 40-hour work week, sometimes overtime. They could work there for 35, 40 years, and then they could retire from that job and have a good pension, lead a very good life, have a very good income all the way through, have health insurance and all the protections they need. But the world has changed substantially since then, and we now have machines that are doing much of the work that human beings did, and what we need now is a more educated workforce that can talk to the machines that are running the processes that we used to use humans for, So we do need a more educated workforce, so I'm going to seek whatever legislation we can to make college far more affordable to our students graduating from high school, and also enhancing the state college system so that we can attract and retain the best and brightest staff for our students and the best and brightest students to come to our colleges and universities.
All right. So with that, I can leave it open if anyone wants to ask a follow-up or if anyone has any new questions as well.
I suppose I have one.
Sure.
So currently we see the growing importance of a higher education. Are there any other modern issues that you see getting faster than, so they're just like the college experience is growing? Is there any other issues, say, in healthcare or technology or the restructuring of something that isn't going fast enough that you'd like to see changed?
Well, I'm concerned about spiraling healthcare costs. Massachusetts led the nation in providing for health care for all, but one of the pieces that was left out of that puzzle was how are we going to pay for this health care system. I was delighted to see that the legislature passed in its final days of this current session. It passed a cost containment program. I'm very excited to see how that works. I want to be a part of that process on Beacon Hill because as a small business owner myself, I can tell you that that's one of the costs that is really crippling to any small business, and we have to be mindful of, first of all, the health care is a right for human beings. How can you seriously pursue that concept of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness if you don't have your health? You hear it over and over that money can't buy everything, and it certainly can't buy you health. So we need a system that provides for our folks to be as healthy as possible. And I think not only providing a great healthcare system, but I think we ought to be encouraging people to live a much more healthier lifestyle. So perhaps they don't need to participate in the healthcare system as much as possible. And we have a lot of diseases. Obesity is a problem, and I know that the president's wife is pursuing measures along those lines. I know that's a pet project of Governor DeVal Patrick, and so I'd like to see things along those lines. I think we have to harness the technology that's available. I think as a government we have to make better use of existing technology to reach out to members of the public and to conserve energy, conserve paper, things along those lines. I think are areas where we as a government can do better to help people help themselves.
Does anyone else have anything?
Yeah, I'd like to hear about why you got involved in politics in the first place. What motivated you to make that first run?
Well, believe it or not, April, my first run for public office was when I was 18 years old. I had just graduated from Milford High School, which is not very far away from Franklin, and my family had been long involved in politics in Milford, and I got the bug at an early age, and as soon as I was eligible to run for an office, I ran for a town meeting member. Milford was a town that used town meeting. Franklin did away with it some 25, 30 years ago, but town meeting was like the House of Representatives for that town, and I was very excited to get involved in that race to begin giving back to my community at a young age. Then, following serving that for 3 years, I went on to college and law school and got involved in my career building a law practice. And it was around the late 90s that I got the sense that I wasn't giving back as much as I had wanted to. My law career was going very well. It was a very successful practice, but there was a void there. And I joined a building committee here in Franklin, which led me to run for school committee right after September 11th of 2001. My fire was burning much more to get involved, and that's when I joined the school committee. I was elected in November of 2001, served up until 2011 when I was elected to the town council. And it's all a part of understanding that we are members of this community, and I wanted to be a member of the team that was part of the solution to things that I saw going around. I loved the fact that Franklin had a great education system. I wanted to be a part to make that system better, because I've always believed that the education of our youth is the most important function we do at a local level. I certainly benefited from my public education. It made me a better person. It allowed me to get a great education at Bates College and Boston College Law School, and I felt that I could give back by working as part of a team to provide that opportunity for the youth of Franklin. And now that this seat has opened for the state representative in Franklin and Medway, I want to bring that skill set and the work that I've done on the local level with me to Beacon Hill and try to bring the same types of programs that we have here in Franklin and Medway, bring that statewide, because we can do some really great things. And this campaign is about the type of government we want and how we can work together to make Massachusetts a great place to work and live.
All right. So I know we're running a little low on time, but if anyone has any last questions that they want to throw in.
I have a question that I'd like to ask.
Sure.
Jeff, I've heard straight from the mouths of people in Medway that they feel like over the years they've been overlooked or forgotten. How do you plan to address this and represent the people of Medway?
Well, Chris, I have a lot of great friends in Medway. Growing up in Milford, that was the next town over, and Medway is a bordering town on to Franklin. And I've stayed in touch with many of those folks over the years. I have been active in attending the Middlesex, Norfolk, and Worcester County Alliance meetings on a monthly basis. I've maintained contacts with folks in Medway. I communicate frequently with members of the Medway Democratic Town Committee. I've been to meetings of the public bodies in Franklin. I've attended their debates, events in Medway. I've been to their Memorial Day activities. I'm going to continue to do those things. And one of the most important things that I've been doing in this campaign is actually going door to door in the neighborhoods in both Franklin and Medway to talk to folks to get a handle as to what's on their mind. I'm not going to stop that after this election is over. I plan to get out there and continue to meet with people on a regular basis to see what's on their mind and work with them. And I can assure you that Medway will be a very big part of that process. And before I turn it back to Natalie, I want to ask if I can ask a question to this group. Would you guys be receptive to that?
Absolutely.
I'd like to know what drives you to get involved in a campaign like this, and what's important to you folks as the youth voters in the future of Massachusetts.
Well, personally, I'm just going to jump right in there. One of my number one things is education, but my other one is I feel that we need to preserve the same ideals that Massachusetts has upheld over the years. I feel like that has started to skew, and I think that it needs to stay strong and stay the Massachusetts that it's been and that we're all love and proud of.
Thank you. Anybody else? I'd love to hear from you.
I think for me, the reason that I got involved in this campaign is because I've seen Jeff, you in the context of the schools, and I've seen you fight for them, and that gives me the confidence that you'd be willing to fight for everything else you stand for. And I think even though I'm at college now, I still feel like I owe or am loyal to this town because Franklin has given me all of the things that I use now in college has gotten me to where I am today. And I think that participating in an election like this is my way of showing that this town fought for me to be able to bring me up in the public school system. So I'm very proud to be a product of them. And this is my way of giving back.
That's great. I can tell you, we're all very proud of each and every one of you, because when you leave the Franklin Public School System and you guys go on to do the great things that you have, I mean, from the colleges that you all listed, you guys are in some great places. And I hope that we in Franklin prepared you well for the curriculum that you're facing at college. I can tell by the way the questions you're asking, the comments you make, you certainly have developed great character. And, I hope that, as I've always said in the graduation speeches, I always say, please remember where you came from and come back often and tell us how you've been, because it's very important to remember your roots and give back to your community. And I'm glad to hear that you're following through on that. Anybody else?
Sure. I'd just like to say that I don't really consider myself that much of a political person, but the more I got into it, I realized, I know a little bit about this, and I think I should get more into that, get more information on the things you want to get done. You want to fix things, and you realize you have to get a little bit political to see some changes. And plus, my dad's been getting involved with you too, so it's nice to just tag along.
It's good to have you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, I think we can call it a night for tonight. I want to thank everyone for participating again. And if you're watching this on YouTube later and you want to get involved and participate in either a Google Hangout, or if you have any questions that you want to ask, you can ask either at facebook.com/JeffRoy for state rep, or get in contact with my dad at jeffreyroy.com. So with that, just again, thank you all for participating in this first Google Hangout, and have a good night.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
It was great to have you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.